Hello there and welcome to Kakaki Sports. This is the Friday edition. As we always say here, thank God it's Friday. Yes. And today's edition of Kakaki Sports, we have a special guest talking about no other person but the D.G Sports Commission, Bukola Olopati. He'll be talking to us throughout about the event of the National Sports Festival upcoming in Ogun State, the planning, the preparation, and perhaps what we should look out for going to the whole of Nigeria, going to Ogun State come this May. Good morning and welcome to Kakaki Sports, sir.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers.
All right, indeed. Let's get right into it. The Sports Commission is hosting the first major event of Sports Festival. That's the 22nd edition of the Sports Festival coming up in Ogun State. Let's start from the beginning. The preparation, how has it been so far? Planning and preparation.
Well, I guess we can easily say, using a marathon expression, we're on the last lap, approaching the finish line. So everything is gradually moving into a frenzy. But I'm very comfortable with the planning so far from the point of view of the National Sports Commission, which is the main organizing committee. But I'm also very comfortable with the planning from the local organizing committee. Don't forget also that I was the chairman of the local organizing committee before I became the DG of the National Sports Commission. So I'm comfortable and very pleased
With what is happening so far?
that we are about to experience an amazing festival.
Well, how ready is the state in terms of facility and infrastructure to host something as massive as the first festival?
Ogun State had hosted these games before in 2006. Beyond that, if there's one state that was ready, even before the inspection, it was Ogun State. From the amazing hostel facilities that we're going to be using, scratch that, because now I'm the DG of National Sports Commission, so I should be speaking from the point of view of the National Sports Commission, but I'm also an indigene of Ogun State and also the former chairman of the LOC. So forgive me if once in a while I stray into talking as if I'm a commissioner in Ogun State. But that's a state that was ready even from the first day that Peter Nelson led the Ministry of Sports to come and inspect the facilities. What we are putting out as facilities are world class across board. The Remo Star Stadium is arguably the best facility today in Sub-Saharan Africa. And when you look around Ogun State today, the MKO International Stadium has become a beehive of activities. Brand new swimming pool. It is the first time in the history of Ogun State that we are owning our own swimming pool. This is what a festival of this nature, a sports spectacle of this nature brings to the table. We now have our own world-class swimming pool. A new sports complex has been created, built from scratch, that is ready for thousands of young Nigerians to make use of for the festival. And when you go into the main bowl of the stadium, that for me brings so much joy to me. The aesthetics, the look and feel of the MKO Stadium today is breathtaking. You'll be gobsmacked. I don't know if you've ever been to that facility before.
I've not been to Ogun State.
So I'm inviting you now,
okay,
on behalf of the Sports Commission, I'm inviting you, not just AIT, to come and experience what will happen there.
I'll keep that on camera. I'll be there.
But when you go to where most of the indoor games and indoor sports and some of the ball games would take place, like basketball, handball, volleyball, squash, badminton, table tennis, is the Alake Sports Center in Ijeja. It has been completely rebuilt by the Ogun State government. And I want to thank Governor Dr. Abiodun for the yeoman effort that he has put into bringing the facilities for the games to the 21st century style facilities. The festival is given to a state 2 years before execution, 2 years before the whistle is blown, 2 years before the opening ceremony.
At least we know the next in Enugu State.
It is in Enugu State. And we've already asked for states to bid for 2028 and 2030. But back to your question, the National Sports Festival, the 22nd National Sports Festival to be hosted in Ogun State, of course, faced a few challenges before we got to where we are today. But I don't dwell on negatives or challenges. I dwell on results. And so what we have today is a completely um, well created and curated atmosphere in terms of facility that young people will enjoy. Let me tell you one thing that is new about this festival that will fascinate you. It is the first time in the history of this National Sports Festival that every athlete will be housed in one location. That is Olympic style. It is not
the accommodation, but now
that's Olympic style. They'll be housed in one accommodation at the Babcock University, one of the best university campuses today in Nigeria. And just across the road, 5 minutes across the road, they'll be playing 12 different sports at the Remo Stars International Stadium. By the way, Ogun State, through Remo Stars, won our first National League title ever. Once again,
congratulations to Remo Stars.
Once again, I'm the director of sports. I'm not speaking for Ogun State, but forgive me if I get carried away once in a while.
Obviously a Remo Stars fan.
I'm obviously an Ogun State indigene that loves my state and that is proud of what Honorable Kule Shoname has done with Remo Stars. But let's go back to the National Sports Festival. I've said to you some of the things that have been put in place were especially modeled in a way that athletes will come, records will be broken, and those records will be recognized by the international bodies. The tartan track, for example, has just been approved by Confederation of African Athletics to host in July the Africa Under-20, Under-18 Championship. The challenges have been surmounted, the hurdles have been crossed. Like Toby Amusho did with the world record, Ogun State has crossed those hurdles in world record time. What we need to be talking about is how the enthusiasm is growing.
What to expect? That's my next
The enthusiasm is growing nationwide. I'm excited to know that the invited junior athletes who are going to be the 38th state for the first time in the history of Nigeria, I'm excited to know that just not far from here, I'll take you after this interview, are camped inside the MKO International Stadium in Abuja, enjoying themselves and getting prepared. The news coming out of the camp is that they are ready to defeat established athletes and become elite athletes themselves, so that the podium board, another strategic innovation of the commission in the last 7 months, can bring them on that podium board for them to be elite athletes that can be looked after. By the way, we've started paying elite athletes and money from the private sector, not from government. So a lot of things are happening that are tied to the games, that are tied to some of the policies that the commission has come up with, that are tied to excitement. You can see that I'm getting excited. I cannot wait.
Because you're actually answering some of my questions already without even.
There you go. There you go. Maybe I'm a bit clever.
Yeah, I agree with you. You're totally clever.
I'm not totally clever.
Yeah, but let's now talk about the athletes before we get into other issues concerning the commission and what you've been doing with athletes and sports in the country. The athletes for the National Sports Festival. We know that over 36 states and the FCT will participate in. 36 states, sorry, and the FCT participating in the tournament, in the festival, and the FCT, and
36 states plus the FCT and
the extra
invited don't call them extra, invited junior athletes, IJA,
okay,
acronym
invited
IJA.
junior athletes will be participating in this tournament. But now let me just ask the obvious question, or should I say the one that I think I will need to know, because the number of athletes have not been certified, registration is still ongoing. What amount of athletes are we expecting all around the states? Between
12,000 and 15,000. The first numbers that came when we did registration by number was 15,000.
Wow.
But the experts and technocrats that we have right here in the commission, they started working on accreditation, and it's looking like it's going to be between 12,000 and maybe 13,000. Because, for example, a state like Ogun State submitted in numbers 1,200. But now we have their confirmed entries at 742. So when you look around, you discover that the number will keep shrinking and eventually would have about 12,000. There are thousands of Ogun State indigenes who would want to see the beauty of national sports. So you're looking at between, take out
The athletes.
15,000 officiating officials and
Athletes.
athletes and officials. You're looking at almost crawling around Ogun State back and forth, almost 50,000 guests and indigenous people that will be looking at enjoying these games. The National Sports Festival is a big deal, and we must always put it on the table, valuable as it is, that it is a big deal. And this is why I'm grateful to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the beautiful attitude towards sports. Do you know he congratulated Remo Stars for winning the league?
Yeah.
That has never happened in the history of this country. Do you know what that would do to other club sides and even Remo Stars going into the continent?
Morale,
That he's going to boost morale. It has also already boosted my morale as DG, and I'm sure the chairman also too is basking in the euphoria of having the president of the country, the father of the country, congratulate a sporting body for winning the league. And we are sure this will continue with every sport. Wait until the basketball league ends. I'm sure the president will congratulate the team that wins.
Okay.
Because we're not talking about football alone.
Exactly.
So the National Sports Festival must be seen as the best #1 sporting activity for this country. And I thank you for projecting it with your medium.
Indeed, I mean, that's a good place to drop the conversation on the National Sport Festival. But now what the DG is trying to say is, come 16th of May to 30th of May 2025, that is this month, Ogun State will come alive, and the Sports Festival, the 22nd edition of the National Sport Festival, that is our own Olympics, will be going on right there in Ogun State. And you need to be there as a Nigerian. But now let's talk away from a National Sport Festival to other issues. 19 federations have gone out for competitions this season, under your watch. And how does that make you feel, and what has the result been for you? So how would you describe their results?
I'm always very reluctant to talk about my successes.
Okay. No, but it's good to hear from the horse's mouth most of the time.
I'm coming.
So
I'm
it doesn't
answering
look like people are trying to...
I'm answering your question.
All right.
I'm always reluctant to talk about successes because you cannot hide a golden fish. The results are too golden to be eaten. And I am extremely very proud of the men and women that we met here, myself and Malam Shiwudiko, the chairman of the commission, that we met here in the commission, from the directors to the secretaries, to the athletes and the federation presidents and the federation boards themselves. It's been an amazing expose to what has been eating for too long. And so you just said quite a large number of federations have gone for international events. Some multiple times, like badminton and para-badminton have gone multiple times.
Even the swimming, the wrestling recently,
And just yesterday, my strategic team put together a long list of achievements in the last 7 months. And I was gobsmacked. Even I did not realize that we had done so well. But let me tell you the most fascinating achievements. Swimming. I cannot remember the last time Nigeria won gold medal in swimming at the continent. But we sent 6 swimmers to the African Junior Championship.
in Egypt.
And they excelled. 3 gold medals, 1 bronze medal is a huge achievement. That means we're making inroads into sports
That we're not known
that
for.
Egypt and South Africa have been dominating.
True.
Which means the Jabals of this world, the Bamitale of this world, can, in the next 2 to 3 years, compete at the All-African Games, compete at the Commonwealth Games, and possibly go to the Olympics and excel. Do you know the quantum value of that victory? It is like the Super Eagles winning the Nations Cup. Because a lot of people tend to reduce the importance of some of these achievements. If they have gone out to win the African Championship, and wrestling also went out last week to win the African Championship, by the way, first time in 4 years that a male wrestler is winning gold
for Nigeria.
Of course, the women, power to our women.
I mean, it's always been women.
Always, and our special sports. The women went with 10 wrestlers. One fell ill just before the commencement of the tournament. The other 9 all won gold medals. And Nigeria won that tournament. Again, winning the Nations Cup. We have plans, apart from taking them to meet Mr. President for the golden handshake and whatever Mr. President chooses to do for them. We have plans to bring them all here in June, including my girls, the under-19 cricketers who went far away in Malaysia and came 5th at the World Cup. Why is this important? Cricket before now was an obscure sport, not paid attention to even by the media.
True.
And today, the world is looking at Nigeria and saying, what is going on out there? All of this credit must be given to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the father of sports in Nigeria, the father of Nigeria, the father of the nation, who in his wisdom created this commission and has mandated us to create a sports economy that does not only create wealth for indigent children who are into sports, thousands of them, but also brings laurel back to create a feel-good factor in our living rooms. And that's what we're experiencing right now. Look, if I go on listing all our achievements, is it in badminton? We are the African champion in male. Is it in para? Eniola Badmus destroyed all competitions, won gold in para badminton. That for me is a superstar. And this is why I am thrilled, I'm encouraged, I feel blessed that under Malan Shehu Diko and myself, we have been able to create an athlete grant that is paying out money to deserving athletes on category A, B, C, and D. So much so that we've done quite some payments. And guess what? All of this money from the private sector, not government coffers.
And they've started receiving this money already?
We've paid.
Because that was my next question about the athletes that you initiated.
We've paid quite a few. They've started collecting the money. All of those going for the world relays, I've been told, have been sorted out. Some of the new winners in weightlifting, powerlifting. But across board, we're picking them and we're paying athlete grants. The athlete grants is to prepare them for the 2028 Olympics. And we're going to be doing this every year. Of course, we've already created a scientific solution to all of this, which means if your performance is going down, you are moving out of the bracket of those who will be looked after by the country. But guess what this will do? I've been in sport for too long not to understand that when you look after your athletes, they look after you with medals. And we are looking forward to a glorious next 3 years with some of the things we are doing.
I was going to ask you the next question about why the grant, but then you answered why the grant is coming at this time. And I appreciate that. And I must commend your administration as well for not just focusing on football. We know football is a Nigeria thing. Football is what Nigerians love. But we can see for the very first time in a long time, we're having people talk about other sports. Myself, now I'm a wrestling fan. Even I don't like the wrestling. But I get to talk about it.
But the girls are killing it.
Yes. So I have to read about it. I have to follow it up and know who is doing what and where, so I can be
That's
able
what
to
we need to
report
do.
about it.
That's what we need to do. We need to understand that sports empowers thousands of young people.
Indeed, that's a good place to drop the conversation. A brighter future for sports and get our youth more involved in terms of reduce the rate of crimes on the streets and perhaps get people engaged in one or two things to reduce insecurity in general. But thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much, the D.G SPORTS COMMISSION, for taking our time
to have
this exclusive interview with us. And we hope to get to talk to you more when the sports festival kicks off proper and to see how it's going.
We've invited you. We look forward to seeing you.
I'll keep my invite. It's on camera, so I'll make sure to be there.
The one I need to tell you.
Okay.
Capture it. Please come to Ogun State. Come and enjoy our food. Come and see all the sights and sounds. But for those who are single, come and take wives and husbands from Abeokuta.
Did you actually? Okay. All right. That's it to drop the conversation. But we've been talking to the D.G SPORTS COMMISSION, Bukola Olopade, and he's been telling us about the sports festival and what to expect in Ogun State. He even told us their husbands and wives to be gotten
Correct.
in Ogun State. So make time to be there from the 16th of May to 30th of May 2025. But again, that's our package on Kakaki Sports. Thanks for being a part of it. I am Simbi Shima.